You know, I get all sorts of the crazy fundraising emails, and I'm sure you guys do too. And they all have stuff like lines about evil Democrats ending democracy to lines about more evil Democrats ending democracy. But one has stood out to me as by far the most disgusting thing I have seen in a while. I'm Josh with the Ring of Fire, and look, Donald Trump's PAC, Never Surrender Inc., sent a fundraising email. The email used an official White House photo of Donald Trump saluting the flag-draped transfer case, the coffin, from the dignified transfer of 6 American service members killed in Iran. The buttons on the email, bracketed around the actual coffin, say, "Claim your spot." The pitch in the email, become a national security briefing member and receive Trump's private national security briefings. The copy in the body says, quote, "I'm the strong commander who stares down tyrants, obliterates terrorists, and never backs down. This is for patriots ready to stand with that kind of unbreakable strength, not for the weak or the wavering." There's a coffin in the photo of a service member. The buttons say, "Claim your spot." Think about that. A flag-draped casket of an American service member in that photo. An American who went where they were told to go, did what they were told to do, and didn't come home. And the man who sent them there put their coffin in a fundraising email next to a button that says, "Claim your spot." The writer who wrote the words, "not for the weak or the wavering," next to a casket should never be allowed near a keyboard again. This isn't strength. This is just the aesthetic of strength, harvested from a funeral to extract money from people who still believe that this man gives a damn about them. 6 American service members. And they were killed in an Iranian drone strike in Kuwait. And they arrived at Dover Air Force Base on March 7th for a dignified transfer. The president was there. He was wearing that tacky ass hat, the white USA 45-47 baseball hat. He didn't take it off. Of course, he was the first American president in history to wear a baseball cap at one of these transfers. And he wore it the whole time. And then he went golfing the next day in the same hat, while another American died in the war. And we've criticized him and he doesn't care. And I want you to think about the hat in context, because on its own, just a hat, it sounds like nitpicking, but it's not. A dignified transfer, it's not a photo op, it's not a campaign event, it's not a rally. It is a sacred military ceremony, held in the middle of the night traditionally because families requested privacy, in which the flag-draped remains of our fallen service members are carried off an aircraft by an honor guard and presented to their families. Presidents have attended these in silence, in civilian clothes, heads uncovered, because the moment demanded it. But Trump wore a campaign hat with his own name on it, and the same hat that you can buy on his website for $55. He wore it essentially to a funeral for the people his war killed, and then he sold the photo to get fundraising ops. It's disgusting. And we're covering all of this, by the way, and I hate to ask you, but jump down there, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Every like, every comment, it all matters, because the mainstream media, they're under attack. And all of us, all of the independent journalists out there, we all need your support. And you know, Gavin Newsom here, he called this the most disgraceful thing I have ever seen. Pete Buttigieg, any politician who does that has no business leading American troops into war. Pat Ryan, American veteran and congressman, he's a grifter in chief. Former GOP Congressman Joe Walsh used 2 words and an expletive that I can't even say here, but you can look up his quote. And then this is the worst part, because normally somebody would go, hey, you know what? Maybe I was a little tacky. Maybe the news coverage covered me in a fair light here, and maybe I need to kind of walk some of this back. Instead, a reporter asked Trump directly, is it appropriate to fundraise off a dignified transfer? Trump's answer was, I do. He thinks it's fine. The same man who told you that he was fighting for the forgotten men and women of America used a dead soldier's coffin as a fundraising prop and said, "I do." Right here, you can watch the video.
Your PAC put out a fundraising email a couple of days ago, and it's being criticized for using official White House photos of you at the dignified transfer. And the PAC is also promising access to secret.
Well, I was at the dignified transfer, unlike a lot of other people.
Do you think it's an appropriate email to send? Your critics are saying that you're fundraising.
I didn't see it. I mean, somebody would say that we have a lot of people working for us, but there's nobody that's better to the military than me.
And let's talk about what this asshole is actually selling in this email. And I just want for a second to pretend that these fundraising emails have some reality to them, because we know they don't. We know they're fake. What is this private national security briefing that he's promising donors? What exactly is that? Because if they're real briefings with real intelligence, that's a catastrophic national security breach. You can't sell access to classified information for campaign donations. Well, we've seen the Trump regime do that a lot. It's not how any of this is supposed to work, though. And look, if these are fake briefings or something less than national security briefings, that's just Trump riffing about the war to big donors in a conference room, then he's taking up to $1,000 from people under false pretenses, and they believe every bit of it. There's no version of this that any part of this isn't a scandal. Either Trump is selling state secrets over dead soldiers, or he's selling nothing and calling it state secrets. Pick one. And the intelligence he's selling access to, let's be clear about what that really is. It's the intelligence that was supposed to tell him that Iran would close the Strait of Hormuz if it was attacked, the intelligence that his national security team significantly underestimated. The briefings that were supposed to prevent the gas prices soaring, that are now approaching $4 a gallon. That is what this man is monetizing. The failure. He is selling tickets to a briefing about the failure that he created, the crisis that is costing every American at the pump, for $1,000, while 13 families plan funerals. 13 families of heroes planning funerals. You know, there's a version of American politics where this would have ended a presidency, where the image of a campaign fundraising button next to a flag-draped coffin would be so obviously universally bipartisanly wrong that no one would defend it. We're not living in that version. We're living in the version where his press secretary doesn't return calls, where the RNC doesn't comment, and Donald Trump says, "I do," when asked if it's appropriate. That is where we are as a country. That's who these people are. And the families of our heroes, they get to watch all of this happening while their loved ones are fighting a war that they didn't start. He gets to land at Andrews Air Force Base. These families are getting a folded flag and then a damned fundraising email in their news feed with their family member's picture in it. Doesn't it seem like our feeds are getting filled with more and more BS right-wing MAGA content? It's no secret that all these top tech bros are in love with the current regime, so it's no surprise that independent left-leaning media is being squashed by the algorithm. If you like our content and content like us, it doesn't take long to click that thumbs up, share, comment, or subscribe. So please help us keep the truth alive.